Everyone, welcome in. Ever feel like you're pushing for big changes but only seeing tiny results? Like that gym membership you swore you'd use daily, and then life happened. Well, get ready to ditch that all or nothing mindset because today we're diving into Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's all about how small tweaks, those atomic shifts, can lead to huge, lasting change. You know me, I love a good before and after story, and Claire kicks things off with a killer one. Imagine the British cycling team back in 2003. Won Olympic gold medal since 1908. Not exactly a powerhouse, right? Enter Dave Brailsford, their new performance director. Now, he doesn't swoop in with some miracle workout or secret weapon. Instead, he's all about this idea of aggregation of marginal gains. Yeah, basically finding a 1% improvement in everything. Now, I'll admit, when I first heard this, I was skeptical. 1%. Seriously. But here's where it gets wild. They redesigned those bike seats, found tires with a better grip, all the expected stuff. Then, they went full-on meticulous. They tested different massage gels to shave seconds off recovery time. They even had a surgeon teach the cyclists the best hand washing techniques to prevent colds. Talk about attention to detail, right?
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Individually, these changes seem almost insignificant. But here's the key. They applied this meticulous approach to every single aspect of their training. And the result? Within 5 years, British cycling was dominating. Olympic golds, Tour de France victories, breaking records left and right. This wasn't magic. It was the consistent accumulation of those tiny 1% improvements.
Okay, so I'm seeing how this applies to elite athletes, but how does this translate to, our everyday lives?
It's all about the power of compounding. Think about it like compound interest. A small amount invested regularly might seem like nothing much at first, but over time, those gains multiply, creating exponential growth. The same principle applies to habits. Those 1% improvements, even if you barely notice them day to day, they accumulate. Over time, they can have a huge impact on your finances, your health, your relationships, really any area of your life.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here. Small changes, consistently applied over time, lead to those remarkable results. So are you telling me I need to start obsessing over every tiny detail of my life?
It might sound counterintuitive, but there's a real method to his madness. You see, Clear isn't saying goals are inherently bad. He's simply highlighting how our obsession with them can actually hold us back.
Okay.
It's like that saying, we can't see the forest for the trees.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this goal trap and how focusing on systems instead can make such a difference.
Think of it this way. Two people can have the exact same goal, say writing a best-selling novel.
Okay.
One gets caught up in the allure of awards and accolades, dreaming of the day their book hits the shelves. The other focuses on the daily habit of writing, finding joy in the craft itself. Who do you think is more likely to actually finish the book?
That's a great point. It's about falling in love with the process, not just chasing the end result. I can definitely relate to that. There have been times when I've been so focused on hitting a certain milestone that I completely missed out on the satisfaction of the journey itself.
Exactly. And that's one of the big limitations of goals. They can make happiness a moving target. You achieve one goal, then you're immediately on to the next, never really stopping to appreciate how far you've come. It's like you're on a treadmill, running and running, but never actually getting anywhere.
So if goals aren't the answer, how do we break free from this treadmill and start making meaningful progress? You mentioned systems earlier. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Absolutely. Remember Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert?
Yeah.
He makes this great distinction. Goals are about the results you want to achieve, while systems are the processes that get you there. It's the difference between saying, I want to lose 10 pounds and I'm going to cook healthy meals at home 5 nights a week. One is a wish, the other is a plan of action.
Okay, that makes sense. So instead of fixating on that end goal, Clear wants us to focus on building sustainable systems made up of small, impactful habits. But how do we actually do that? How do we go from setting goals to building systems that stick?
That's where things get really interesting. Clear introduces this concept called the plateau of latent potential. And it's a game changer when it comes to understanding how habits actually form.
The plateau of latent potential. That sounds intense. What exactly does that mean?
Imagine you're learning to play a new instrument, maybe the piano. You practice every day, but for weeks it seems like you're making zero progress.
Yeah.
Your fingers stumble over the keys, the melodies sound clunky, it's frustrating.
Right.
You're putting in the work, but the results just aren't there. This, my friend, is the dreaded valley of disappointment.
Oh, I know that valley well. It's enough to make anyone want to give up on their dreams of becoming the next Mozart.
Exactly. It's that point where we're most tempted to throw in the towel and say, this isn't working. But here's the thing. Even though we don't see those immediate results, our efforts are not in vain. Just like that ice cube we talked about earlier, change often happens in a sudden shift after a period of seemingly invisible progress.
Okay, I'm starting to understand. So those early efforts, even if they don't produce immediate results, are actually crucial. We're building up to that breakthrough moment, that point where our efforts finally break through the plateau and those results start to compound.
Precisely. But getting through that valley of disappointment is no easy feat. It requires patience, persistence, and a belief that even though we can't see the progress, it's happening beneath the surface.
So how do we navigate that valley? Because let's be real, patience isn't exactly our culture's strong suit. How do we stay motivated when it feels like we're stuck on that plateau, putting in the work but not seeing the payoff?
That's where Clear's insights become incredibly practical. He doesn't just leave us hanging in the valley of disappointment. He gives us tools to climb right out, one of the most powerful tools, engineering small wins into our process.
Small wins, so celebrating those tiny milestones along the way.
Exactly. Our brains are wired to crave immediate gratification. Every time we experience a small win, our brain releases dopamine, which not only makes us feel good, but also reinforces that habit loop, making it more likely we'll repeat the behavior. It's like giving ourselves a high five every time we stick to our plan, no matter how small the victory.
I love that. It's about shifting our focus from that distant finish line to those little moments of success along the way. So how do we actually design habits that set us up for these small wins?
This is where Clear lays out his 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Think of them as your recipe for building habits that stick.
Okay, let's break those down. What does it mean to make a habit obvious?
It starts with awareness. You can't change a habit if you're not even conscious of it. Clear suggests creating a habit scorecard. It's simple but powerful. List out your daily routines, everything from brushing your teeth to scrolling through social media. Then ask yourself, is this a good habit, a bad habit, or a neutral habit?
It's like holding up a mirror to our autopilot mode.
Exactly. And once you've identified the habits you want to build, make them obvious in your environment.
Huh.
Want to drink more water? Fill up a big water bottle and put it right on your desk. Trying to read more? Place that book you've been meaning to start on your pillow so you literally can't miss it.
So it's about setting ourselves up for success by making those desired behaviors the easiest, most obvious choice. What about the second law, making it attractive?
Remember that dopamine rush we talked about? We can use that to our advantage.
Sure.
One effective technique is called habit stacking. You pair a new habit you want to build with something you already enjoy. For example, let's say you want to start meditating, but you find it hard to sit still. Try pairing it with something you already do every morning, like drinking your coffee.
Mm.
Each sip becomes a cue to practice mindfulness for a few breaths.
I love that. It's like sneaking in those healthy habits under the guise of something we already enjoy. So make it obvious, make it attractive. What's next?
Make it easy. We often overcomplicate things, setting ourselves up for failure before we even begin. The key is to reduce friction. Make it as simple as possible to do the desired behavior. Let's say you want to cook more meals at home, but struggle with finding the time. Try prepping your ingredients on the weekend, so when you get home from work, dinner is just a few chocs and sautés away.
It's about removing those barriers to entry, making it harder to make excuses. Okay, we're on the last law, make it satisfying. This one sounds pretty straightforward.
It is. Our brains are more likely to repeat behaviors that bring us pleasure. That doesn't mean you need to roll out the red carpet for every small win. But finding ways to celebrate those milestones, no matter how small, can make a world of difference. Finish a challenging workout. Enjoy a long, hot bath with your favorite book stuck to your budget this week. Treat yourself to that fancy coffee you've been eyeing.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the inspiring story of British cycling to the power of compounding, the importance of systems over goals, and those 4 brilliant laws of behavior change. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly energized, ready to start implementing these principles in my own life. So what do you say? Ready to embrace those atomic shifts and unlock your full potential? Remember, even the smallest changes, consistently applied, can lead to extraordinary results. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into atomic habits. Thanks for joining us, and remember, small changes, remarkable results.